Whatever happened to Jesus' lost years? Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion. And the answer is that there is no such thing because no one was ever incentivized to create them. See, the earliest accounts of Jesus' ministry begin with the beginning of Jesus' ministry. They don't go back before that because those stories were either unavailable and or unimportant. It wasn't until decades after Jesus' death that questions about Jesus' origins incentivized people to create stories about them, to arrogate more authority and more divinity to Jesus' identity and mission. And this is kind of a part of the standard trajectory of authority. We see this with prophets in the Hebrew Bible as well. Prophets are usually called in adulthood, and then we have prophets who are called in their youth, and then later on you have Jeremiah who says, I was consecrated by God before I was even conceived. And this is all a way to one up the authority of the person who comes before. And so Jesus' tradition obviously grappled with questions of his origins, and there were probably folks who were like, the Messiah is supposed to be born in Bethlehem, and suddenly we have the creation of these stories that try to account for how the person everybody knew came from Nazareth was actually born in Bethlehem. And then you have these stories about virgin birth and things like that as a way to amplify the divinity of this. And so Jesus from 12 to 30 wasn't really relevant to Jesus' authority, and so no one ever had a reason to come up with stories about those years. It's not like every last second of his life was accounted for, and then later on people were like, this is way too sexy for Milan, New York, and Japan, so we've got to suppress these stories. No, they were just never created because Jesus did not become significant until he began his ministry, at least the historical Jesus, insofar as critical scholars are able to reconstruct what that historical Jesus was likely like.